Hi guys, it's Shannon again, and right now we're getting ready to play Dracula Origins. As you can tell, the setup is a little different today. This game actually will only work on an older system. I actually tried to play it, install it and play it on my Alienware, which has Windows 7, and the video cards are actually way too enhanced for the actual game, so the driver was too new and the game wouldn't play. So I had to go to my desktop, which is an XP Windows, and it plays perfectly. So I was able to get fraps on there and everything, so everything's peachy, and I'm going to play this awesome game for you. It came out in 2008, so it's a fairly new game, and it's a point-and-click, very simple game. I just love playing it because it has an amazing story. So the game is right here, so I will be looking back like this to talk to you guys. So I hope you enjoy the game. So I'm going to select new. Yes. Okay. Yay! Okay.
Other than sunlight, which can be fatal to them, there are very few ways in which to conquer a vampire. However, various legends and reference books about these creatures of the night, as well as my own experiments, have affirmed the following. Firstly, vampires detest the smell of garlic. This preventative measure, used in a good number of regions subject to the depredation of these creatures, is omnipresent in the folklore of these aforementioned regions. Secondly, vampires cannot endure the fact that they cannot see their reflection in a mirror. This optical effect, which I feel confident I can witness, strikes them like a club with the vacuity and aberrance of their existence. Thirdly, some storytellers mention an irrational fear of running water, as well as a specific vulnerability to silver bullets. I have not been able to test and validate these theses. In fact, during the half a lifetime that I have dedicated to the research and annihilation of these creatures, I have only had as true recourse 3 weapons which have proven decisive. The crucifix foremost. Brandished with conviction, it fights off these creatures and prevents for a moment all attacks from them. Next, holy water. It serves to inflict wounds on the creature because it burns its flesh like acid. Lastly, a wooden stake is the final instrument of destruction. After having discovered the sanctuary of the enemy, one must profit from its damned slumber in order to strike with the greatest force into the beating heart of...
Professor, it's me. It's Maria, your lodger. Professor, there's a letter here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Slide it under the door.
Can I get you anything, Professor? Something to eat, perhaps?
What? No, thank you, Maria.
But, Professor, it's been 4 days now that you haven't been outside, is it?
Maria, I am trying to work. Leave me in peace. My friend, how can I allow you to leave? And what will become of you? I should have been in your place in this cursed castle and being destroyed by the one whom I have chased for years. You've had Mina. Poor thing. What grief I will cause when I shall tell her the news. There isn't a moment to lose. We must inform Mina. She is in grave danger.
Thanks. Alright. The letter from Jonathan Harker. Dear Professor, it's a strange manner in which to commence a letter, but I hope that you shall never have to read these words. For if that is the case, it is because a grievous destiny, worse even than death perhaps, has put an end to my existence. Know that at the time in which I write these lines, I find myself at the very heart of evil, in one of the rooms of Count Dracula's castle. ! This missive will take me many weeks to reach you, more time than my return trip to London, which I will make if I am able to carry through my terrible task. This letter would thus have no relevance. Hence, if you are reading this, pray for my soul. Finding the beast's lair was no simple task. The Count's subordinates are everywhere east of Vienna, and they maintain a veil of secrecy and terror regarding the very existence of our enemy. With force, persuasion, threats, and silver pieces, I managed to find the approximate location of the Count's grounds. During my trip to this accursed place, chance placed a young scholar whose team had been attacked by bandits in my path. Grave wounds had forced him to take rest at an inn before he could resume his journey to Count Dracula's dwelling, where he was supposed to take inventory of the library. I appropriated the young man's letters of introduction and extracted him from the necessary pieces of information to get to the castle. I arrived on the night of the second day at an immense fortress seeping with death and corruption, where the origin of evil that we're fighting is found. My first meeting with the Count left me in a memory that will haunt me to the end of my days. How to imagine such nobility, charm, and benevolence in the behaviors of a man who, only by his icy, demented look, betrays his true nature. I was just as subjugated by his elegance as his intelligence. Upon my nocturnal arrival, we discussed at length my alleged library experience. He immediately noted my accent and asked questions that were both precise and direct. I was the mouse attempting to answer to the cat, and despite myself, I gave away my identity as well as my London heritage. He seemed to read into each of my answers, and it was the devil of a task to mutter an explanation of my presence here as a delegate from a large Viennese library. He then interrogated me regarding London and England, and seemed genuinely impassioned to hear about life in our capital. I then had the misfortune of mentioning Mina, my dear betrothed, while recalling an afternoon spent boating. The Count pressed me, in an almost impertinent manner, to show me a photograph of her. I complied, and was then struck with an infinite terror by the Count's rapacious, carnivorous gaze, as he examined the face of my loved one, grasped between his hands. I feigned a very believable fatigue, and isolated myself in my quarters. Sleep did not find me that night or any of the following nights. Terrifying abnormal noises mixed with the howling of the wolves that swarmed the region. The Count has been absent for 3 days, but his abominable servant assures me he is to return tonight. I will wait no longer to spring into action. This immense place oppresses me, and it seems that the shadows themselves are alive, observing me and tormenting me with their laughter. I miss Mina so much. What I wouldn't give to be by her side. I don't dare write her. She wouldn't understand the dangers that my mission involves. Assure Mina once again of my complete devotion to her, and, if you receive this letter, ensure that she knows my last thoughts were of her. Your student and friend, Jonathan Harker. Oh, so sad. If you know the Dracula story, you already know what, basically happens, so. Okay, and these are articles that we've received. 809, 1898, domestic drama. A sad and bloody business took place yesterday on the first floor of a small residential building located next to the New Kent Road station. From interviews with the neighbors, young Garrett Melford first killed his young wife, Magdalene, in a fit of jealousy before dying himself. The young married couple had moved in only 2 months ago. Mr. Melford was employed as a foreman at Grimble and Brosby's cement works. Various testimony confirmed that early in the evening, in the absence of her husband, Mrs. Melford admitted an elegant man dressed in black entered her flat. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Melford returned to the domicile. My vocabulary isn't amazing. After a long day of work, as soon as he entered the flat, an eerie and colossal black bird flew out of the windows in the direction of National Gallery. A cry could be heard, as well as the sounds of a struggle, and finally a gunshot. After an alarming silence, some of the neighbors entered into the flat, only to find Mrs. Melford stretched out lifelessly on the bed. With a bleeding wound to the neck. Mr. Melford was sitting on a chair with his skull agape and a still smoking pistol at his feet. A small crowd gathered around the place, which most certainly allowed the third player in this drama the opportunity to abscond. Upon the arrival of the police, they concluded that it was a murder of passion followed by a suicide, even though the exact unfolding of the events as well as the identity of the lady's nocturnal visitor are still unknown. Note, the testimonials taken at the crime scene are very troubling, particularly in regard to this eerie and colossal black bird. See last Tuesday's edition of our report on an equally unnerving event.
Come in, Professor. I am pleased to see you. Please excuse the disorder in my attire, but I haven't had the strength to attend to the housekeeping this morning.
But what is going on, Mina? And where is your servant?
Jenny is absent. She is with her sister. My God, I am at a loss for words. We found her poor sister yesterday, dead. An atrocious crime. Today's newspapers gives the heinous details. The police came here to break the news to Jenny. She was shocked and had to go to the police station to identify her sister. What a tragedy! She was my junior by 3 years and now she's dead. But what a paltry hostess I am. To what pleasure do I owe your visit? Have you received news of Jonathan?
Ah, not at the moment. I came to see if all was well. Jonathan repeatedly insisted I take care of you. I reckoned. Could I take you for a stroll in the park, perhaps?
Nothing would give me greater pleasure. I must alter my thoughts. Give me a few moments in order to ready myself.
I did not have the courage to break the sad news to her, but it must be done sooner or later. What could have happened to this poor young girl? Mina told me that it was mentioned in the papers.
Pretty much now we can just click around and find stuff. This must be the paper we were talking about.
This pile of newspapers must have belonged to Harker. He kept them to help him in his hunt.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Perhaps I will find the article to which the News Times made reference today. No, it is not that. Try
No,
again.
it is not that. Try again. The article documents says, see last Tuesday's edition of our report on an equally unnerving event. So it's that day, last Tuesday. So I don't think it would be this past Tuesday. It would be the Tuesday before. So we need to subtract 7. That would give us August 2nd. And then go back 2 more days. So that would be July 31st, I think. Right? Am I crazy? Am I wrong? I'm probably wrong. Maybe it's... Oh, wait. This is Europe, so do they do the months differently? Oh. Yeah, I'm wrong. Of course I am. Yeah, it's not August, it's September. So that means it's actually September 8th. Right? September 8th. So a week before would be September 1st, so then it would be August 31st.
Useless.
I'm useless.
Nothing of interest here. No, it is not.
Well, then I'm just gonna click on
Try
all of them, you know, because I just, you know, I'm always wrong.
Useless. Nothing of interest here. No. Useless. Nothing of interest here. No. It is useless.
You're useless.
Nothing of interest here.
You're...
These articles surely contain some clues which will permit me to discover where the perpetrator
flip
of
off
these
the camera,
wrongdoings
man.
has taken refuge.
Oh my god. Okay, more reading. A faithful parishioner escapes the claws of a demon. A faithful parishioner escapes the claws of a demon. Last night, a prudent and devout young lady, Miss Ethel Basingstroke, narrowly escaped the assaults of a lunatic, or rather a demon from hell, in her own words. Miss Bessingstroke, 21, who is to be married next month, was exciting.